Howdy folks, and welcome back to the channel, welcome back to another episode of Hearts of Iron 4 with the mighty Total War mod, and it's time now to carry on our series, our alternate series with Imperial Japan. In case you guys are new to the channel, I highly recommend you to watch the other videos of the playlist, because if you may be wondering why Sweden is controlling Tibet, well, just go back and see the previous episodes. So I hope this video will not be too fast, and I will do my best to basically explain, as always, what I've been doing. Now, just have a look at the map, at the situation of the Chinese forces, and you see that let's say the Japanese army created this kind of reverse L, because there is a big penetration in northern China and then a kind of a vertical line splitting China into two. And having seen this, I thought, well, it's now the time to kind of close the gap between this L, and to do so I reorganized my frontline troops in order to have one infantry army south of that lake and all of the other armies north of it. And I brought south but north of that lake, I'm sorry, I don't know which lake is this one, the motorized army. And as you may have just seen, I have manually issued the order to my motorized troops to just advance deep and towards the north west as fast as possible. Now, I was advancing, let's say, far away from my supply lines, and yeah, as expected, at some point my troops run out of fuel. Unexpectedly, I managed to close into one small pocket one Chinese division, and that was not part of the plan, but I was happy anyway that this happened. While at the meantime, the fighting away from the railways and away from the supply depots was drastically affecting the speed of my motorized divisions. And it was for that reason that I decided to split up my motorized slash cavalry slash tank army into three axes of advance. One that was supposed to head southwards to take the supply depots down there, basically, and two kept heading north. The idea was to trap all of the enemy divisions still around Communist China and that bit of land of Nationalist China, and things were not going, let's say, too well for me, because again, I was lacking supplies, and most importantly, I failed to take control of the only railway that could have supported the advance into those territories. However, things improved with let's say, with the cleansing of that long sausage-like pocket of nationalists, and then, let's say, all of my attention was now focused on the battle between the, let's say, I call it the White Army and the leftovers of the motorized army, because I thought, wow, if I manage to close that pocket, it's gonna be good. And then I noticed, oh my god, the two provinces near the, let's say, this big battle were empty. They were freaking empty, and I was like, oh my god, why is the AI not, let's say, moving troops to protect its flanks? And therefore, because I had, let's say, two light infantry divisions of the White Army, the White Army consists of all the expeditionary forces from Manchukuo. I said, okay, let's just try to maneuver around that province, and indeed, as you may have just seen, this turned out to be the, let's say, correct approach in that case, because yeah, I did manage to trap also a bunch of enemy divisions still fighting in the area controlled by Communist China. And now, let's say, at this point, the big process of annihilating the big pocket began. I split up the light blue army from the south into two in order to liberate as many divisions as possible for the fighting around this big pocket. And also because I wanted to remind you guys that I'm playing on the elite difficulty, and in the elite difficulty the AI does have, I don't know how many, I think 7 days of out of supply bonuses, and I am not sure about this, but having seen that communist China still had its capital under its own control, and knowing that in that capital there was a depot, I thought that maybe the Chinese troops in that pocket were not, let's say, suffering from any attrition because of the supplies coming from Yan'an, so the capital of communist China. And to let's say get rid of this problem, I launched a first attack in the direction of Yan'an, which was actually quite successful, surprisingly. And maybe also because I did enjoy a dramatic, complete, and absolute control of the skies. And true, planes against mountains are not really that great, they're not really that useful, but still, I think that every bit helps. I had to keep an eye of my. I mean, I had to keep an eye on my fuel reserves, but overall, I think the situation did not look too bad. And slowly but surely, I began to shrink that pocket one province at a time. I did not set up the battle plan orders because in that case I thought it would have been a better idea to just micromanage everything. The AI cannot withstand micromanagement, so if you can just let's say attack from multiple directions, from multiple sides in multiple provinces at the same time, it's always good. It's good to pin the enemy divisions in place to prevent the AI from shuffling them around. And yeah, having taken now Yan'an, the capital of communist China, I could feel that the Chinese AI now was starting to crumble inside this pocket. Now, one thing that I forgot to mention was research. Research-wise, you may have seen or not that I did start to research as well some naval technologies, namely destroyers, submarines, and aircraft carriers, as well as some technologies of, let's say, equipment related to destroyers and submarines, like the new depth charges or the new torpedo tubes. And I also decided to focus on, of course, infantry equipment, and as well as on the electronic technologies, namely radios, computing machines, and radar as well. Now, having gotten rid of the Chinese pocket, I reorganized my troops in order to have the Manchukuo expeditionary forces to the south, while the bulk of the Japanese infantry armies was moved up to the north. And yeah, it's important to see this one because let's say that straight line coming from that lake to the coast was not coincidental. It was precisely adjacent to the railway lines as well as to the supply depots that were already present there in the game. And this was done, let's say, to maximize the ability to resupply my troops, basically, to have them fully resupplied, fully organized and fully equipped for the upcoming battle. And because I could feel that the Chinese AI was now running low on troops, I decided not to micromanage the situation anymore and just to assign the advance of the Japanese army to the AI. And indeed, again, thanks to the intervention of the Japanese Air Force, the Chinese lines just crumbled and they melted, and they could not. Yeah, the Chinese just could not do anything to stop my advance. And with the fall of Chongqing, I think, I hope this is the correct pronunciation, the Chinese government decided that it was enough. Too many Chinese people were sacrificed in this war against Japan, and China basically surrendered. Yes, so China surrendered in, I think, was May or June 1939. And I may tell you this now. I began to manually justify against Xinjiang because I didn't know that there is a focus in the Japanese tree that allows you to puppet, or no, even better, to integrate Xinjiang and Tibet. I can spoiler it now. I will mention it again in the next video, but I did restart again the campaign, and I removed Tibet from the nations that were annexed by Sweden, because I realized that without Tibet I was permanently locked into that focus. And yeah, at this point there was nothing too much interesting happening besides building up railways, building up supply depots, and securing the internal lines. I did create a specialized garrison division consisting of, I think, 40 garrison battalions and one divisional headquarter company and the military police company to maximize the suppression of efficiency within the Chinese occupied territories. And I also began, let's say, some preparations to annex Manchukuo, because for my war against the Soviet Union, I would not like to have my puppet still alive. I would like to annex Manchukuo and just attack the Soviets, ideally from two fronts, from the Xinjiang front and from the Manchukuo one. Yeah, you got my message. And yeah, I think that's all for me. I will let you guys enjoy the few minutes remaining in the video. And as always, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me if this was too fast or too slow. And yeah, as always, take care, be safe, and I'll see you all guys in the next episode.
叩いて太平